It's time for the Artie Show! And now your host, Artie Romero!
Welcome, everybody. My name is Artie Romero, and I'm with ARG Cartoon Animation. And today we're going to be interviewing Mr. Rich Arons of Gang of Seven Animation. And Rich has a very, very storied history in the animation industry, starting out in the early 1980s and working for Mr. Spielberg on Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniacs and Freakazoid, and going on to work at DreamWorks and on features and Toonsylvania. And Rich is a writer, director, producer, animator, really very multi-talented, and now he's on YouTube. So welcome everybody, Mr. Rich Arons.
Thanks, Artie, for having me here. I appreciate it. And actually, I met you through YouTube, which is kind of neat. I've had my YouTube channel for a while, putting up new cartoons, and I have like a little series of it's a Binky's Christmas Tree. Somehow people reacted well to that one, so I've gone ahead and expanded that story. Even though I was going to do a Binky Man story, but I thought I'd put that on hold right now since I'd gotten such a good reaction from people on that storyline. So right now there's like four of them that are completed. 3 of them are up on YouTube. There's a painting of them I have here I'm holding up of Binky and his little Christmas tree character named Little Treeser. And they have their little adventures, and Little Treeser's a bit of a pest, so not to go into too much right now, but you'll have to watch it and see.
In the animation industry, you've had very specialized jobs where you're either a producer or a director or a writer or an animator. And you might do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but on YouTube, you're the producer, the director, the writer, the animator, and you do the voice talent, and you even record your own music, don't you?
Yeah, I've been having fun doing all the above, which it's kind of like, well, it's YouTube, so you have to. It's kind of like guerrilla filmmaking. You just kind of go with it, do whatever you can, get as much done as you can, and put it up there, and see what people like. And yeah, I enjoy doing the music as well. So I've been, either I've been pretty much doing original music, or I'll take some classical and I'll record it and do something sort of funny and cartoony with that. So yeah, that's about the size of it. I've also been promoting on YouTube a book I wrote, which I happen to have it right here. I'll hold it up, called Turvy the Turtle Duck. So that was another YouTube video where I made a video version of a book that I had illustrated and written. So that's up there as well. It's a kind of a fun place to see what people like, what things you should really be concentrating on, because as you know, it's endless what you could be doing as far as animation goes.
So let's get in our time machine here and go back to the 1990s when you were working with Mr. Spielberg's organization on Tiny Toon Adventures, and then Animaniacs, and then Toonsylvania. Tell us how you got started in that particular company.
In 1989, when Tiny Toons really started to get going in terms of the show and the development, and even production began that year. So I'd gotten in there. I was doing layouts, and I was having a lot of fun, and it was a lot of work. And I had never directed before, not professionally. And one day the producer came over to me and said, you look like maybe you'd be good at directing. So, or something like that. Or I asked him, maybe I should I'd like to direct because I really love your show. I love this show. I'd like to really get involved. And I said, you want to look at some of my animation and all that? And he said, no, you look like you know what you're doing, so go ahead. So he must have heard something good about me, or he just had a good vibe. So we, and that turned into my first directing gig. So we did, I worked on the first season, second season. I had done a show that got a lot of recognition from Spielberg, where I did sort of a takeoff on the pink elephants on parade from Dumbo. We did a sort of a satire of that on Tiny Toons, with little Albert. Instead of elephants, it was a bunch of Albert Einsteins that were like on parade. So Spielberg liked that, and so they decided to make me producer on Animaniacs. So I kind of got, that was my, it was sort of a big break for me there. And so I was right in on the development of the show, and came up with a lot of characters, and I was involved in the art and in the personalities and all that stuff in developing the series. So we're very, very proud of those. I did about 100 of those, 100 episodes. So it was about, I don't know, whatever that is, a season and a half of, or more of those. And then we also did Pinky. The initial Pinky and the Brains came out of Animaniacs. So we set up the series for that. And then we did more Tiny Toons, and at that time it was great because there was so much going on. When we didn't have Animaniacs, we'd go back and do another Tiny Toons special or direct-to-video thing. So that was a big part of my career. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Before those shows, I really didn't care about directing so much because I wasn't that excited so much about the show. Although I worked on a lot of shows before that that were good. They were successful shows, but I wasn't as excited until sort of the rebirth of Warner Animation in the early '90s or late '80s, early '90s. So, oh, somebody's peeling out. I don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. This might be a little bit of an off the wall question here, but did you do a show for Tiny Toons that was essentially like an opera? The whole thing was musical. Did you work on that particular episode of Tiny Toons? And I can't think of the title of it.
I didn't do the opera one, but I did one of them that was all music. That we did. There were two Toon TV shows. I did Toon TV 2, I guess, where it was all the whole thing was songs interpreted, and with the characters interpreting these songs. And in my case, I picked a lot of stuff I like, which was like old '60s and '50s records, and we did Yakety Yak, and we did oh gosh, It's in His Kiss, the Shoop Shoop song, So I did a bunch of songs that I thought were appropriate to those characters. And that had the songs all sort of told a story, so it kind of worked well just for us to interpret these things visually. And it worked out well. Although we did a Sinead O'Connor reference at one point too, so we did some more current things, but mixed in with some real old stuff. And people like it. Getting messages on YouTube, really like that episode. People really enjoyed that particular thing, and they want to see more of that. So I've been sort of in YouTube. I am sort of classically oriented. I like doing classic Warner's feel to it, or classic Disney feel to the animation. So I'm trying to do more of that sort of thing now, and people like it. It's I hope.
Well, yeah, and when I was just watching as somebody outside the whole production, I saw it as part of the Renaissance in animation, which started in the 1980s with Who Framed Roger Rabbit and continued on through a lot of new TV series and movies and so forth. And it seemed like what the Spielberg organization was doing with Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniacs and so forth was really part of that whole renaissance. And now we have another big revolution in animation, which is the whole YouTube revolution, and now you're involved in that as well. So it's interesting how you're going from one fun phase of popular culture to another, with some stops along the way to produce feature films and so on.
Right. Yeah, it is interesting how this technology is sort of allowing us to be creative in new ways, and sort of find new ways of doing it too, because a lot of it is like we're using these programs Flash and Toon Boom, and finding ways to do to shortcut a lot of things that used to take a lot more people and a lot more labor intensive.
Absolutely.
So I mean, not that it's easy to do it, especially when you're doing a lot of the stuff by yourself. But it is interesting using the new software and integrating it into something that's hopefully it's something that's classic. Hopefully it's something that people are going to want to watch down the road. It's not just something that it's on and it's gone. You know,
Exactly.
I think that's where I'm coming from. I think that's where you're coming from.
Sure. Well, I think, you know, when you get a good story and you tell it well, and you have music that is, you know, sticky, it essentially resonates with people, and the whole package comes together. It'll run on YouTube for many, many years, and continue to roll up more and more and more favorites and likes and so forth. And you know, it is a lot of work, though. As you said, even though we have this technology today, I think one of the misunderstandings that people have about what we do is that now it's easy. Now you just push a button, and nothing could be further from the truth. We just have better pencils now. We have better paper.
That's right, and the nice thing about this is that you get this immediate feedback from people that you don't get when you're working on a series. It takes a while to get the feedback. You work months and months getting something going, or with a feature. I was just on a feature for 3 years, and the thing is still in production. So you won't get your feedback from the public for a while. Whereas here, you're people like something, they don't like something. You find out pretty quickly, and
absolutely, and just by your views.
And it's nice because it's kind of like short cartoons from the 30s and 40s, where they would, the animator could actually, a director could actually go to the theater and watch people react to his stuff. Like Tex Avery used to do that. Go to the movies, find out what people liked, and then he'd go back and do more of it. He'd find out what people didn't like, what they didn't like, and he'd do less of it. So, fairly quickly he developed, what the speed of things should be, what the speed of the gag should be, what kind of gags people like the most. So this is getting more in that direction, I think, of where you get more immediate feedback, more gratification, because you actually can see people. You actually get some people reacting. Some people even send you a video, as you know. They'll send you a video saying, "Well, I like this. I didn't like that." So which is really cool. I mean, you want them to like everything, but if they don't, at least, well, okay, now it gives me something to think about here. I can fix this. I can do that.
All right. Well, we're running out of time, so I want to just have you tell us about your channel, how you can find it on YouTube.
Okay. It's just Rich Arons, RichArons channel. And if you have trouble there, you can go to richarons.com, because I link it back and forth. I put all the YouTube stuff there on the website as well. Okay. And I've got artwork there too that people can look at, and if they're interested, they can contact me about that.
Well, thanks, Rich. Appreciate the interview.
All right, thanks, Artie. It's a pleasure.